The Missouri Department of Natural Resources, improving the quality of life and economic well-being of all Missourians by fostering the wise use and protection of our air, water, land, cultural, and energy resources. Energy, the power to do work, has always been with us. Man has harnessed the power of his own body and that of other animals, the power of moving water and that of the wind. He's used the power of fire to cook his food and to warm himself. Over the last 100 years, as man's use of technology has accelerated, so has his energy picture become more complex. How does the use of our energy resources affect the air, water, and land around us? What kinds of energy alternatives can we look forward to? And how can we use energy wisely today to help guarantee an energy future for our children? This episode of the Missouri Resource Review video magazine takes a look at Missouri's energy picture and how our energy use relates to the protection of our other precious natural resources. Most of us don't think much about energy. We jump in the car, take in a ball game, grab a hot dog. All these things we take for granted, yet they all rely on energy. And energy today relies on fossil fuels. Fossil fuels are combustible materials found within the earth. Ancient plants, pressurized throughout millions of years, have transformed into oil, coal, and natural gas. Fossil fuels are an easily available resource that we have used to power our lives for the past 100 years. But the age of oil is ending. Today, fossil fuels account for the bulk of Missouri's energy needs. Gasoline for our cars, coal for our power plants, gas to heat our homes. They all come from a finite source of ancient organic materials buried deep within the earth. Alternative sources of energy exist, but every energy source has a cost that extends well beyond its initial use. Environmental costs are difficult to measure in dollars, but greatly affect the quality of our lives. In St. Louis, Director of Research and Special Projects at the St. Louis Science Center, Jeffrey Bonner, is concerned with man's relationship with the environment.
Our society, this civilization, consumes more energy per person than any other civilization in the history of the planet. There are two things that concern me very greatly. The first is, I think people are largely unaware of how much energy they consume during the course of their daily activities. The second thing is, I'm afraid people aren't very aware of the long-term impact of this high level of energy consumption. To look at, for example, the automobile. You pull up, you fill up the tank with gas, but it doesn't end there. In burning the gas, we release all sorts of pollutants. It costs money to clean those pollutants up. Let's take the issue of, say, generating electricity by burning coal, generating electricity through nuclear power, through nuclear production. In both cases, there are long-range, sometimes unanticipated consequences. When you burn coal, you cause atmospheric change. That could be devastating for the planet. On the other hand, when you generate power through nuclear energy, through nuclear production, you generate radioactive waste that also have long-term detrimental consequences. You have to assume that we have some sort of moral obligation to care for the planet. We have some sort of obligation to create a world that's livable for generations to come. When you look at the choices we have to make now then, they're basically moral in character. They're hard choices, but they're choices that have to be made now in order to affect the kind of future that we want to have.
The economic cost of our energy consumption is something we cannot ignore. Every year, Missourians pay about $9.6 billion for energy. Because Missouri must import most of our energy needs, About $7 billion Missouri dollars go out of state every year to pay our energy bill. It's hard to conceptualize such figures. Think of it this way. The average Missourian works from January 1st to February 7th of every year just to pay for energy. More than 1/10 of our total income goes to keep the lights on, our tanks full, and our homes cool. If we saved only 15% of our energy, it would be the equivalent of adding a billion-dollar industry to Missouri. How long can we afford this drain on our state's resources? The answer to Missouri's energy future is not a simple one. It is a complex task to achieve efficient use of existing resources, development of alternative sources of energy, and careful consideration of environmental and economic factors. Yet Missourians, with the help of the Missouri Department of Natural Resources Division of Energy, are beginning to meet the challenge of tomorrow's energy future today. Firefighters regularly deal with extreme temperatures on the job. But when they come back to the firehouse, they expect the same range of comfort we all do, 65 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit. In Hannibal, Missouri, a historic town on the banks of the Mississippi River, the city is using new ways to keep its firemen comfortable and conserve energy at the same time.
Some people may think that Missouri is too far north to be cost-effective as far as solar heating goes. We've proved that's not true because it is very cost-effective. We can compare it with another station of the same size and we find a tremendous savings. In fact, this station uses 43% of what station number 3 used. And station 3 is a fraction smaller than this station. So we like it for that reason. The chief does like it. It's cost-effective, more money to be spent doing other things rather than heating a building.
Ultimately, all of the energy we use is solar energy. The same sun that warms the firehouse in Hannibal nurtures the trees that eventually wind up in Wayne Marshall's stove.
We really like our stove. We bought it 3 years ago, and it's comparable price-wise to gas or electric, and it's clean burning, good heat, and we enjoy it.
Wayne is talking about the pellet stove, a new technology that relies on waste wood products to create heat. Pennington Seed of Greenfield is manufacturing the pellets.
The pellets themselves for the stove have a couple real advantages. The first one being we're using a byproduct that's out there that needs to be used up or something done with it. The second thing is they have a huge bulk, a real high bulk density compared to regular wood. Therefore, when we throw the air to them, they burn a lot cleaner. And by burning cleaner, you have less emissions in the air. You also have quite a little bit less ash in the end.
Across the state, workers in Gallatin, Missouri, are buying time for our energy future in a different way, with the help of a grant from the Missouri Department of Natural Resources Division of Energy. They are replacing all of the street lamps in the town of 2200 with new sodium vapor lamps, which use only 60% of the energy of the old mercury vapor lamps.
High-pressure sodium light sources are much more efficient. They provide more lumens per watt, which is similar to more miles per gallon in an automobile. High-pressure sodium will greatly reduce the energy consumption by municipalities throughout the state of Missouri.
One of the pleasant ironies about energy conservation is that it is not uncomfortable. The days of turning your thermostat down and shivering in a bulky sweater are in the past. New technologies are improving our energy efficiency and the quality of our energy use as well. New lighting fixtures provide better light at less cost. One of the brightest technologies now available on the market are the new energy-efficient compact fluorescent light bulbs, which allow a homeowner to do just what the town of Gallatin is doing, investing a little energy and capital now for a continuing payback. These new bulbs pay for themselves in 6 months of continuous use and result in cleaner air and less greenhouse gases because of the energy they save. These benefits aside, one of the most compelling incentives for most Missourians is money.
You always have to watch out for your own pocketbook first, but when you can take care of the environment and your own pocketbook at the same time, now that's good business.
Stockton homeowner Lee Hess is talking about his ground source heat pump that the Sac Osage Electrical Co-op has installed in his new home. The system is simple in design, yet very energy efficient in use. Liquid, flowing in underground pipes, absorbs the ground temperature of 56 degrees. The heat pump then brings the home's temperature up to the comfort zone at a fraction of the cost of conventional electric heat. And in summer, the process is simply reversed for air conditioning. Everyone is aware of the importance of efficient housing to save energy. But a lot of people still have the impression that making your home more energy efficient needs to be a costly proposition. In Springfield, City Utilities employee Ann Hall is working with local residents on low-cost, no-cost ways to improve their home's energy efficiency. These are simple things anyone can do, and they'll often pay for themselves within a season.
The energy usage in a house really has 4 factors. The weatherization that you can do to the house, the efficiency of the house itself, the efficiency of the appliances, and probably most important of all, the efficiency of the people who live there. One of the best things about the no-cost, low-cost energy-saving measures is that they'll pay back in one heating season. They're things that renters can do, adding a caulking, replacing a threshold, doing the kind of things that don't cost much money but save immediately. I think that we find most people are looking to save energy from the economic standpoint, but there are a lot of people, like the owners of this house, who are concerned about the ecology and concerned about their children's world. For anyone looking for ways to save on energy, they can contact their local utilities, or they can contact the Missouri Department of Natural Resources, the Energy Division. They have a great deal of material available on no-cost, low-cost energy savings and other products that you can buy to save energy.
Throughout the state, Missourians are buying time for the future with a variety of projects through the Department of Natural Resources Division of Energy. Retrofitting schools with new energy-efficient windows. Landscaping for energy efficiency. Education projects designed to expand some of our most valued resources. All of these projects do their part to extend the age of oil, while other alternative sources of energy are being developed. Missourians are always on the move. On our 32,000 miles of highways, we use $3.25 billion of motor fuels every year. And each drop brings us closer to the end of the age of oil.
We've got to address the energy consumption rates as well as the type of energy supply. The two are tied very much together. And if we don't judge ourselves now, I think certainly we'll be judged in future generations on the basis of the way we consumed the fuels that were available and in the way we used them.
In Neosho, Missouri, students and faculty at Crowder College are experimenting with one of the cleanest sources of energy, the rays of the sun. Photovoltaic cells convert the sun's energy into electricity. There is no pollution.
As fossil fuel prices get more and more expensive, the other technologies begin to look more attractive, and it is a matter of economics. If you can buy gasoline for $1 or $1.25 a gallon, and solar technology costs the equivalent of $2 a gallon, you don't get too excited about it. But if the supplies are disrupted, or if the price of gasoline comes up to beyond the price of solar energy as it's coming down, then people get more interested in it. And that's when it's really going to take off. It kind of reminds me right now what we saw in a lot of our racing. We'd be out on a day like today, and we'd be under a cloud. And we'd have a reserve of battery power that could pull us out into the sunshine. And we'd use that battery power up to get into the sun so we could motor on down the road. And in a sense, that's what we're doing as a society. We have a reserve of fossil fuels that could take us out into the solar technology that's going to be needed for the future. And I think that's what should happen, and I certainly hope that's what does happen, because ultimately, that's going to be the technology we rely on.
Missourians are relying on what we do best to buy us a little more time.
Future generations of Missourians won't have an opportunity, maybe like we do, to utilize oil and other petroleum sources. So we have to find something that's different, something that is an alternative to that, something like ethanol, which is renewable. We grow it every year, and we utilize it every year, and we can do it year after year after year. Ethanol is made primarily from corn. It's made by fermenting corn, and it's an alcohol. And then we use the alcohol, 200 proof alcohol, to turn around and mix with gasoline, or a 10% ethanol blend is normally what you would find in most of the gas pumps. And we as Missourians are trying to do everything that we possibly can to reduce our dependence on foreign oil. One way we can do that is by utilizing a product like ethanol that's made from domestic resources. It's grown here in the United States, and particularly in Missouri, and it's renewable. We grow it every year. So it's an excellent product, and it's something that we think can help really reduce our dependence on foreign oil.
And in our urban areas, Department of Natural Resources personnel are working with city and state highway engineers to keep us moving, saving energy from idling cars by working on traffic flow and traffic light synchronization, the benefits of which go far beyond just saving energy. We're talking about the quality of life.
Generally, when the average motorist on his way to work thinks he's pretty lucky to make all green lights. But there is a lot of work that went into it, computer analysis, and the whole system is pretty high-tech. Basically, the system comprised of a master controller and a local controller at each intersection, and these controllers assure progression throughout the route. There's a phone modem in the master controller, and we can dial it up now. Since we are online through telephone communications, this is real-time. And this is what's going on out the intersection right now. We can look at any one of the intersections. There's 10 of them on the route, and we can call up any one and look at its current status. When we can get people through the route quicker and there's less delay, then there's less fuel consumption.
As a scientist, it seems to me that people don't realize that the cumulative effect of individual actions can cause massive changes. I mean, you think to yourself, golly, if I just turn the thermostat down a little bit in the winter, or up a little bit in the summer when you're cooling your home, that, you know, how much could that really amount to in the long haul? It's a drop of water in an ocean, but that's what the ocean is made of, a lot of drops of water. The cumulative effect of individual actions can cause massive changes. We really can make a difference.
The challenge of accepting stewardship of the planet exists for each of us. The choices we make about energy use in our daily lives affect the environmental health of the planet. At times, this seems overwhelming. Yet the answers to these questions are close at hand. We know that using renewable energy is a choice we must make right now. Another choice is to move swiftly and decisively into the arena of greater efficiency. There is technology available today that could save 50% of the energy we currently use. All we need is to put that technology in place. But it will take the personal involvement of every Missourian to solve our current energy dilemma and pave the way for our children's energy future. The Missouri Department of Natural Resources Division of Energy is developing general guidelines to chart our course through the difficult compromises that lay ahead. But this plan won't work without the active involvement of every Missourian. Collectively, we can and will ensure a bright future for generations to come.